I just come out of a deliverance session. I want to tell you guys the story and also a personal story of mine. For today's video, I want you to sit and think back to that thing that happened. And when it happened, you didn't give it much thought. But that was the root of the legal right or where the covenant started. In today's session, I saw a beautiful woman who loves the Lord. And she told me that one day when she was pregnant, she was on the train, pregnant with her daughter. And there was a Sangoma sitting across from her that kept looking at her. And then the Sangoma said to her, like approached her out of the blue and said to her, I can see that there are people who do not want you to have this baby, but I want you to come and see me so I can give you some herbs, some medicine for you to break off any curses. This lady didn't know any better, and I mean she wanted to protect her baby. She went to see the Sangoma. The Sangoma gave her something to bath in. She had her baby. The child grew up. The child is now almost in her early teens. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the child started going crippled, going deformed with a limp. When we sat in the session, she told me that, and she didn't put two and two together at the time. And I said to her, so that Sangoma told you this, and you went to see her. She gave you these things to bath with the same pregnancy, which is your daughter, which all of a sudden now your daughter is experiencing this. You know, this lady sat and she looked at me, and I could see her heart breaking as she realized this. I want you to think of that thing that happened. And at the time, you didn't give it much thought. But now, as you sit and look back, you realize that that was Satan planting a seed of legal right to curse your life or to bring a covenant on your life. For a lot of people, they can remember the day they ate something and they started getting sick. For a lot of people, they can remember when that person came to visit their house and went to the bathroom and left something spiritual, and their house started going into chaos. For a lot of people, they can remember when curses or covenants were spoken over them by their colleagues and suddenly their marriage went under. A personal testimony of mine. And you guys must tell me if you want the story time. So for those of you that don't know, my new followers, my grandfather was a warlock. He was a warlock. Many people will deny it, but he was a warlock. I know this for sure. And I used to smoke as a teenager into my early 20s. You know, you were a youngster growing up in South Africa. I was naughty. I used to smoke cigarettes. Now, for me, coming from the colored culture, it is something that we always used to hide. You know, when you're smoking, you hide from your parents, from your grandparents, because if they find out, you'll get a hiding. The one day, in my early 20s, we were in my hometown visiting because we were living in Johannesburg. But we went to our hometown to visit our grandparents, our family. And my grandfather came up to me in the passage of the house and he said, give me one of those weak cigarettes of yours. Now, I was a young lady, so you smoke the weakest ones because you can't smoke strong stuff. You know, you still think, and you naughty. So he said, give me one of those weak cigarettes of yours. And in my mind at the time, I was in my early 20s. I didn't know, I was not on this journey of spiritual warfare at all. I thought to myself, yes, my grandfather knows I'm smoking. I'm grown now, you know. And I went to fetch one of my cigarettes and I gave it to him, not knowing that that was giving legal right for demonic strongholds of stagnation and oppression to attack my life. And after that, years later, when I prayed and I said, Lord, show me where this altar is. Lord, show me where this altar is. Even years after I had quit smoking, the Lord would always take me back in my mind to my grandfather asking me for a cigarette, because he took that cigarette that was mine I gave it to him freely, and he went to put it on his altars. So I want you again to sit and think back to that thing that happened that you didn't give much thought to at the time. But now, years later, you realize that that was the open door. That was the legal right. That was the covenant that Satan made to bring deception, to bring curses, to bring witchcraft, to bring poverty, to bring stagnation over your life. Because Satan's kingdom has to trick you into going into covenant. Many times people visit people and they say, oh, I'll pray for you, I'll lay hands on you, take this, do this ritual, do that. Not realizing that the very hands that those things come from are hands that are there to steal your blessings, and those people have no interest in you succeeding in life, but they want to steal your destiny. So to everybody that watches my page, sit and think and ask the Holy Spirit and the Lord in prayer. Lord, this stronghold, this togoloshi that is running through my house, this spirit spouse that is coming to sleep with me at night, this constant attack of sickness on my family, this constant attack of poverty in my life, where did I give it legal right to? Was it at altars when I was consulting and looking for answers? Was it through innocence and through naivety into my family, my bloodline, telling someone something personal? And they took that and they spoke against it, telling people my plans, telling people my goals, my dreams, sharing with people. And they took that and they went to block the same dreams, the same goals at evil altars. God bless, family.